Hi, this is Elizabeth Florence. Welcome to my EDRM 878 final portfolio. I'm going to spend a few moments hitting the highlights of each section of the portfolio and then wrap it up with some reflections. Let's begin with part one of the portfolio, the introduction. One of the biggest issues facing English instructors is providing effective writing feedback to so many students. I identify one possible answer as the use of automated writing evaluators, otherwise known as AWEs. AWEs are software programs that holistically score essays in various areas such as content and mechanics. Sounds like magic and the answer to all of our problems, but there are limitations, and these limitations make many instructors hesitant to use them. Instructors also fear loss of autonomy over the grading process. The problem, in short, is how to determine how to best utilize AWEs in conjunction with human feedback to maximize student writing achievement at my school, Lexington High School. My research shows that there are mixed reviews on the effectiveness of AWEs. I located one study that found AWEs had no positive effect on writing quality, and another that found that they actually do bring about small gains, and a third that showed AWEs are especially effective with non-native speakers of English. Next, I discussed how these mixed reviews create a negative perception, which ironically has been proven to be a barrier within itself. I also found research revealing AWE's measurement limitations. And finally, I found the best policy is to take the best of what AWEs have to offer and combine that with human evaluation and feedback. In all my research, I could not find a study on what the blend should be, how much should be human feedback, and how much should be using an AWE. In the significance statement, I identify many stakeholders, including administrators, school technology, and English teachers who would benefit from better understanding of AWEs and their use in the writing process. The purpose of this qualitative case study is to explore the usage of blended AWE and human feedback on student achievement in English students at Lexington High School. The central question is, how do instructors blend the use of AWEs with their feedback? And the sub-questions are, how much automated feedback does an instructor allow as an effective user of an AWE? And what percentage of human-generated feedback does an instructor provide as an effective user of an AWE? And finally, what are instructor attitudes towards AWEs? The first step is a survey of English instructors about the extent to which they use AWEs. Once users are identified, I will analyze student documents and follow up with an interview to dig deeper into instructor use and attitudes regarding AWEs. I expect the study to find that effective instructors have a positive attitude about the software, use AWEs for limited feedback, and continue to rely upon instructor feedback for content. In the central phenomena, I identify that an effective user is an instructor who uses AWE's capabilities to maximize student writing achievement. And blend is the nature of utilizing a predetermined amount of AWE feedback in conjunction with human instructor feedback. In the context and participants segment, I talk about the setting of Lexington High School. I then talk about the participants, the instructors, the subjects they teach, how long they've been teaching, and how many of them there are. I also identify how they will be selected. Next is the research design. I discuss why a qualitative design fits the purpose of this study due to the instructors, students, rubrics administrators, and parents involved. I cite Cresswell's book, Research Design, to show that qualitative studies are perfect for an instructor like me, collecting data in my own setting and creating an individual meaning for my school. I also discuss how the emergent design fits this topic very well, allowing me to change my interview questions or the focus of the document analysis as I go. I also use Cresswell to defend the use of case study, explaining the pool of participants matches Cresswell's number. The first data source is a survey of English instructors at Lexington High School to identify AWE users. The second data source is a face-to-face interview to gather information from conversation and the environment. The final source is an analysis of instructor feedback on student writing samples. The purpose of these documents is to determine the types, frequency, and placement of human feedback provided by instructors. I identify steps including creating a quick survey, getting proper permissions, determining participants, and getting informed consent. Next, I discuss creating a schedule for interviewing and talk about what I will do during those interviews. I also talk about the significance of audio recording to ensure correct transcriptions. I discussed creating an informational sheet for instructors on how to submit 5 student samples using Google Drive. And lastly, I discussed ensuring validity by allowing participants to validate my themes. I discuss ensuring the interview responses are anonymous and the importance of removing identifiers to ensure that both the instructors and students are protected. I assert that the use of informed consent as a means to assure participants of anonymity and of no penalty for refusing or discontinuing participation. In this segment, I talk about my role as an English instructor, experiencing the same issues as my participants, and the significance of clearly explaining to all stakeholders the purpose of the study. I also consider the limitations that might come with only being at the school for 4 years, as well as the subjectivity issues that might arise as a result of rapport or lack thereof with participants. I assure readers that I will ensure subjectivity by having a third party check feedback counts on student writing samples, and will ensure instructors remove all student names before submitting writing samples. I also talk about my personal distrust of AWEs and how that might possibly color my findings if I'm not careful. One pro of a quantitative study is statistical interpretation. Surveys and experiments provide numerical data and are therefore often more reliable and generalizable. However, quantitative studies are closed-ended. Once data is collected, the study is done. In addition, this type of study leaves no room for the analysis of documents that's so critical for writing feedback. One pro of a qualitative study is the researcher can bring personal values into the study and collaborate with the participants. In addition, qualitative studies allow a more varied type of data, including interviews, which I plan to use. Probably the most important aspect of qualitative study is its emergent design, allowing questions to change, data collection to shift, and individual study to be modified. One con of qualitative studies is that they are less likely to be generalized. There were several areas of this portfolio that had to be shifted to ensure alignment. First, the purpose was too limited. Instead of just senior level English, I had to include all English instructors. Otherwise, the pool of participants would be too small. Also, the deficiency had to be changed to specify instructors at Lexington High School. I added a sub-question to assure alignment to the survey, and fourth, I made changes to 2 of the research expectations to better align the expectations to the research and the survey. Finally, I made adjustments to the data source survey questions to ensure that the survey was better aligned to the research questions. The working process was both frustrating and fulfilling. One of the most difficult parts of the course was my inability to understand how the parts would fit together. However, at the end, there was satisfaction in the aha moment when the pieces did fit together. The best tools by far in the creation of this portfolio were the human tools. I so appreciated the generous and timely feedback from my professor, Dr. Jin Liu. She provided positive feedback that increased my confidence and motivation. In addition, she provided thoughtful suggestions for growth and even allowed me to revise and resubmit. This encouraged me to improve upon my work rather than to settle for mediocrity. Another valuable tool in this process was my partner Anna Loftus, who was just a text away, providing helpful feedback and serving as a source of moral support as well.